In this video, we're going to talk about interest rate and comparison rate, and how the last 10 to 20 years, the government and the news outlets have forced the narrative down to everyone, constantly telling them that these are the main two things that they need to be looking at. When, as a mortgage broker, those are the two things that we're looking at after we've gone through a myriad of, say, 5 to 7 other items that are much more important before we even talk about how competitive a product is. Because at the end of the day, if you can't qualify for that bank or that product, or something is out of ordinary on your application that doesn't allow you to get approved with that bank, then the interest rate means nothing. Now, let's go through a couple of examples. Let's say you're right on the 80% LVR threshold. So your property's worth your property's worth $1 million. Your loan size is very close to, say, 800 to 820,000. Then obviously interest rate means nothing if the valuation of that bank comes in too short and you're over 80%, and you have to pay lender's mortgage insurance if you refinance. Obviously, if another bank values the property at $1,050,000, then obviously you're saving anywhere from $3 to $5 in lender's mortgage insurance just because the valuation came in higher. Let's say you've got a guarantor on the loan, so your parents are guarantor, and the difference in the valuation could be the difference between kicking off the guarantor or not. So again, interest rate and comparison rate mean nothing. Okay, let's talk about one of the other items, turnaround time. So many times I get clients that sit in front of me that want to talk about banks and amazing deals, but then when I tell them that bank is sitting at 14 days service level at the moment, i.e. your file will not get picked up for 14 days, they don't really care how long it takes to get them pre-approved because they're going out and trying to find a property. But then as soon as they go and they find the property, most real estate agents want either unconditional offers, especially in competitive markets, or they only give 5 to 10 day finance clauses. So that means the bank has to get you from pre-approved to formally approved inside of 5 to 10 days, which is not applicable to half of the banks on the market in the Australian market. So when I tell clients this, they need to understand that there's a big difference between refinances that can take 2 to 3 months and doesn't have a time constraint, to banks that do have a time, to purchases that do have a time constraint. All right, so again, interest rate and comparison rate mean nothing if you lose the property or you're forced into the situation where you don't have a formal approval and the real estate agent wants you to put a 5 or 10% deposit down, which is then at risk until you get formally approved. Okay, so then let's go to the next one, the customer service offering. So we all know certain banks have outsourced their operations to either overseas countries like India or Philippines. All right, so from a service level point of view, that may not help you. We also know that you've only got really 8 banks at the moment that have branches. Okay, so do you need branches? Do you need to be able to walk in and speak with people? Okay, are you just using the home loan features and then using your banking products with a big 6 bank? You need to work that out. Again, interest rate and comparison rate mean nothing if the bank's not giving you what you want from a servicing point of view. There are certain banks that we know them all that you call the bank and you're sitting in half an hour and a half queues, and we all know those banks that the big 6 banks that are like that. So again, they're not meeting your requirement on customer service. Okay, let's talk about features of loans. Okay, let's say for instance you wanted an offset, a 100% offset against a fixed loan. You can only get that at 2 to 3 banks in the country currently, or 4 banks. So you've got Adelaide Bank, you've got Teachers Mutual Bank that has 100% full offset against a fixed loan, and then you've got Bank West that has a partial offset, and so does St George. Okay, so again, interest rate and comparison rate mean nothing if that's the feature that you want. Obviously, you need to go to the banks that have that feature and then compare the interest rate, the comparison rate, and the fees on that. Then let's talk about lending policy. Okay, if you're self-employed and let's say you've earned 100,000 the first year and 200,000 the second year as a sole trader or a company, it doesn't matter. If you went to a mid-tier bank, most banks, if they see a big gap in the income, they go off the lower figure for your borrowing power, especially if there's more than a 20% gap in the income. Okay, so in that example, your borrowing power would be half what it would be if you went to a bank like CBA, ANZ, or Adelaide Bank, who go off the most recent year's financials. Okay, so again, interest rate and comparison rate mean nothing unless you're able to actually go to the bank and get the borrowing power that you need. So that's just one example as far as lending policy goes. Okay, setup fees, annual fees, and LMI fees. All right, so every bank is different on that. There are some banks that are coming out that have no fees, like Suncorp has no annual fee and very few upfront fees at the moment, and they're running a promotion for no annual fee for life. Okay, so the difference may not impact you much over the 1 to 2 years after you refinance, but if you're looking for a long-term bank that you never move from, then that could save you over $13,000 over the 30-year loan term. So again, little things like that don't affect you long now, okay, but do affect you over a long period of time quite hard. All right, so again, interest rate and comparison rate mean nothing unless you're going with a bank that you're okay with the fee structure and how things go there. Okay, then we talk about, certain banks have better banking portals. Certain banks are just online banks with very few online support, and you have to keep your banking with a big six bank while you manage the mortgage through their online platform. So you have to understand how that bank operates. Okay, and then if you want to go to the nitty gritty, let's talk about ING. I do a lot of my banking with ING, and I really like ING, and I like the fact that they give me access to all ATMs with rebated ATM fees. Okay, I don't hold a lot of cash, I don't take out a lot of money, but I do like that feature from that bank. Okay, so access to ATMs and is a big thing, and especially in regional markets, ATMs are being removed across the country. I'll give you an example. My parents are in Gymea Bay. There used to be 4 to 5 ATMs there. Now there's only 2 left, and the main bank that was in that shopping plaza was Commonwealth Bank, has actually closed down that branch. So a lot of older people, don't have access to ATMs anymore or a bank branch in that particular section. So this video is just going to really stop people in their tracks, and really, if you look at how the news and the government focus so much attention on interest rate and comparison rate, sure, that does matter once you talk about products that you qualify for, or products that once you get everything that you want, then you compare the overall better deal that you can get. But so many clients come to us so rate driven that they've got no idea what happens on the back end. And really, only 20 to 30% of clients are so vanilla and so the same that they can go to every bank on the market. Okay, there's at least over 50% of applications that have something in there. So they've got a large bonus, they've got too much commission, they've got a large maternity leave, a uni student on their first job on a probation period, they're self-employed, they want a guarantor loan. There's so many things that change the bank that you should be going to and why. Okay, so I just want to dispel the myth. Focus on a good broker that focuses on everything else first and then compares, what you actually qualify for first to get you what you want, and then compares the interest rate and the comparison rate for you. All right, hope that you've enjoyed this video, and we'll see you on the next one. All right, bye.